all around. We've got good vibes. We need these good vibes. And today, all that I'm going to talk about is good vibes. Yeah, prepare for it, because it's going to be good. Because today we're going to talk about Gini WIJNALDUM and how there has been a massive acceleration in his recovery. Now, we spoke about him last week, and we were saying how, in fact, his return could actually be slowed down because of the fact that it's a serious injury and it takes time for it completely to rehab, and that apparently today we're getting news that Gini is working exceptionally hard, and we've set objectives for him. And so today we're going to talk about these objectives. We're going to talk about Gini's return in general. We're going to talk about something which we mentioned in the last live stream, how the transfer market could change with Gini back, and how the transfer market works if we want to try and get Gini back this summer. And the contacts that we're having with PSG. So today it's all about Gini. Now the first thing which I'll say is that, wait, let me get close, because, there we go. Basically, we're getting news that Gini is working really, really hard. Now, where is Gini right now? Gini's in the Netherlands. He's not actually in Rome. He's not working in the training ground. He's working in the Netherlands by himself. He chose the Netherlands. Obviously, it's where he's from. He definitely has a lot of faith when it comes to doctors in the Netherlands. So he's in the Netherlands right now. And apparently doctors are saying, and I've contacted Roma saying that they're exceptionally impressed with how Gini's recovering, with how Gini's recovery is going. Because again, I'm going to say this again, it's a rare injury. He broke a bone. Let's not forget this. He broke a bone and chose to not get surgery. Why did he choose not to get surgery? He chose not to get surgery because otherwise, it could be that with surgery, his recovery could have been more efficient, but at the same time with surgery, the times of recovery would have been way longer. And Gini's priority is to play for Roma. So Gini has a big objective right now. Really big objective. And this is an objective that if anyone mentioned 1 week ago when we were speaking about the same situation, I was gonna, if you were to say this thing which I'm about to tell you 1 week ago when we were talking about how Gini's recovery could actually be, was actually slowed down. If you were to say that to me last week, I would have gone to you, what the hell are you saying? What the hell are you talking about? So the big objective in Gini's mind is training with the team in Portugal. Now, we discussed about times yesterday. So the team is back in Japan today, this morning. They landed in Rome. Now they have a 12-day holiday period. And then around the 13th to the 15th of December, so just before Christmas, the team is going to go for 1 week in Portugal, the same destination as they did this summer, to prepare just like they did in Japan. And Gini's objective is to leave with the team, to train with the team in Portugal. Meaning that, no, he wouldn't be ready the day we restart the Serie, which is the 4th of January. I do still think that Gini will be fully ready to play around the start of February. I do still, maybe end of January. I do still think it's hard to see Gini start playing back with the team in like official games in January. I especially the early January. I really doubt this. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about this, about recovery and stuff. I've actually never broken a bone, so I can't tell you that. But for me, it is pretty hard to see Gini play the starting matches in the winter period. However, what Mourinho's understanding by speaking with the doctors is that Gini's rehab will be slowly building up to his return. What does this mean? This means that the first step is getting back training with a ball. The second step is training with a ball with a team. The third step is playing with the academy team. And the fourth step is getting subbed into matches. And the fifth step is getting back playing playing an official football game from the very start. And, there are a lot of steps to be accomplished to see Gini play back, starting, being in a starting 11. He has to go through a lot, and Mourinho knows this by speaking with the doctors. A very significant period of time will be when Gini will start playing matches with the academy team. This is something which many clubs do. When players get serious injuries, before actually starting them in official games, they actually play games with the academy team, which I know is weird because Gini isn't young. He's not an academy player, but they actually allow this. So that will definitely be something which Gini cannot wait for, but obviously it will take time. The first thing and the only thing which Gini has to focus on right now is training with the team in Portugal. Now, they've set this objective. He has to try and accomplish this objective. Setting an objective doesn't mean that it will be accomplished. It means that you have to work hard through it to reach it. So I'm not saying that Gini will 100% leave to go to Portugal with the team. But that is the objective which has been established in Gini's mindset. And I think already establishing objectives, already thinking about where to work towards what, I think is already a good step. It will be gradual. Don't expect Gini to train with the team and then the following week he starts a Europa League game. It won't be like that. And another thing which I ask you, and I ask everyone to do, me, myself, and I included, is to understand and acknowledge the fact that it will take him time to get back playing and, being 100% fit. This is the same discussion as Spinazzola. I don't think people, including me, because I've actually been criticizing him a lot this season, understand the injury that Spina's gone through. And we cannot, it's basically virtually impossible for us to expect Spina back on the pitch to give the same impact that he gave in the Euro 2020s. It's just impossible. The same with WIJNALDUM. So the second WIJNALDUM will be on the pitch, I don't expect him to play at full intensity because it's virtually impossible to see that. So yeah, that's the first thing. Now today he published, let me share this. He published this picture on Instagram, which again suggests something. So I'll share the picture with you. Let me put it on the screen. There you go. He shared this picture. Look at his face. Look at his expressions. Basically the comment on this, which you can see, says, looking at my recovery weekly schedule, something like that. Look at his face. It means that his recovery programs are intensifying, which is a very good news. It's not good news for him because he needs to work hard now, but they're intensifying, meaning that his leg is now able to go through more intensity than what it was able to do. So that's another thing which I wanted to share. Now let's talk about how the January transfer market changes when it comes to this. Does it change? Does it not change? The question which I've been asked is, if Gini's back in February, let's say Gini's back at the start of February, and therefore will play February, March, April, May, and some of June. So basically he's going to play around 15 games with Roma, if everything goes to plan. Do you still think we will buy another midfielder in the January window? Absolutely. I think we have to. And I don't think we should lay our midfielder choice for the January window and completely lay it on the Gini situation. Because, okay, Gini can get playing 1-2 weeks before scheduled. But Gini WIJNALDUM will not be the same player as we've known him for, at least over the course of the first month or two coming back. Therefore, we need another midfielder. We need someone who rotates with Gini, again, gives rotations to other players as well, because Matic can be playing every game, and Cristante too. They've completely shown this. So I don't think our midfielder pick in January is directly linked to this Gini situation. And I think it would be very wrong for us to completely lay responsibilities on that when it comes to this. Because I think it will take a lot of time to see Gini back playing well. I'm not saying that in the first months back he'll play shite, but what I'm saying is I just think that the intensity that Gini will undergo in football games it won't just be at its max at the start. And I mean, you just can't blame him for that. So I really think we need another midfielder adding on to Gini Wijnaldum. And obviously the last thing which I'll say about when it comes to the Gini situation is, what do you think happens with PSG? Now, we touched this last week. Now, I'm reading that Gini again is pushing a lot here. And in fact, the first thing which I'll say is that Thiago Pinto is already discussing this when it comes to PSG. They're basically already discussing about Gini's future in Rome. The important thing to note down here is that Gini is pushing to stay. Gini made himself a promise at the start of the season, which was, I'm going to give, I'm going to help the fans, I'm going to help the club. I have to give what the fans gave to me at the arrival at the airport back. And he's been very unlucky because he's not been able to do this. So Gini is really pushing to stay in Rome. Gini is not pushing to leave PSG. Gini is pushing to stay in Rome. You might think those two are completely equal, but they're not completely equal. Because one thing is leaving PSG and don't know where you're playing. Another reason is leaving PSG and being determined in wanting to play for Roma. We have a player who, right now, even when his contract with Roma expires, will push to come back to Rome and will not accept and will not listen to any other offers. Because he said it to himself at the start of the season, I want to give what the fans gave to me back. And with his injury, he's not been able to do this. So just like a few months ago, when we wanted to loan Gini into the club from PSG, Gini played a massive voice. Gini was determined to let some wages go, to let some money go for him to join Roma. There has been something which has attracted Gini when it comes to this club. And Gini is in a position to make maybe a few more sacrifices. Not many. He's a player. He still needs to earn money, but he will push PSG to try and loan him back. Now, obviously, the relations between us and the oil merchants, the French oil merchants, are good, are really, really good. And that's something to emphasize. Another thing which is very important to emphasize is the fact that it's going to be hard to see PSG renew his loan at Roma. And basically everyone is saying that it's just so hard to see it happen in a day where money is the dominant factor in football, especially with a club like PSG. You just don't see them, and this is any club who's got the money, you just don't see them, okay, I mean, he's been injured the entire season, you know what, I'm just gonna reactivate the loan, and he stays where he is. That's not gonna happen. PSG and Roma need to negotiate. Now, what is important is the fact that PSG have been submerged by financial fair plays lately. I mean, no, wait. They haven't been submerged by financial fair plays in a way that it's basically prohibiting them to enter in the transfer market. They have been submerged by warnings by UEFA. They have been said multiple times, you have to be careful because you're spending a lot of money. Therefore, if PSG can show UEFA that they could prepare some sacrifices to let Wijnaldum go without asking for much money, that will make them look good under the eyes of UEFA. And that can keep the financial fair plays even more away from them. Now, again, we can start talking about financial fair play and how it's absolutely bonkers, but I mean, I've said it already. I've absolutely said it already. And I really don't want to get into it again, because it's just, we're clearly seeing favoritism. We're clearly seeing the power of money in this. Because if you or PSG, who spend, I don't even want to mention the amount of money PSG spend per year, and don't get affected by financial fair play. And then you have clubs like Roma, who, an example this summer, spent only 7 million euros, and just even in past years hasn't spent much money compared to these oil merchants, and you affect them with the financial fair play, then the hierarchy in football, and I'm warning you here, is gonna get even larger. If you punish teams which don't spend loads and glorious amounts of money, and don't punish teams which spend millions and millions every day, then you get a situation where the biggies are going in one direction and the smaller clubs are going in another direction. And the gap in the middle is getting bigger and bigger day by day. So financial fair play will never affect PSG. PSG can keep on spending money and money and money and money and buy players and players and players and players. They won't get affected just because they've got so much power when it comes to money. Because they know another thing, which is important, which these clubs have when it comes to power, is they know that the UEFA has been threatened with the Super League. They know, UEFA knows, that if they punish clubs like PSG, Man City, Man United, Real Madrid, if they punish them, UEFA knows that they've got the power to ally together and go against it. That's why you will never see financial fair play given to these clubs. However, it's important for PSG because it kind of makes them look good. If they are prepared to make some sacrifices when it comes to situations like WIJNALDUM, a player which they don't need, then they make themselves look good under the eyes of UEFA, which is commanding them. But again, it's just, I don't want to speak about financial fair play because we can speak about days and days and days. Truly, we can speak about this for constant and consistent, and just every day we can speak about this, and it just doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, money is just getting too into football, and I don't like this. It makes me want to just. It just makes me want to stop watching the game. Not that I will stop watching the game, but it's just not good at all. So yeah, I mean, good news about Gini. So I do think, with a bit on negotiations, exploiting the fact that the two sides have good relations, I actually see Gini maybe be a Roma player even next season. Because again, Gini really wants to remain. Right, let's read some comments. Phenomenally great news, it says Balasoko. Let's hope he will be good after the injury. So do we buy 30-year-old midfielder coming from serious injury and pray that he improves Mourinho's counter-attacking play? So do we buy 32-year-old midfielder coming from serious injury and pray that he improves Mourinho's counter-attacking play? I mean, we're not buying him. He's a wrong player, so he's one of our players. We're not buying him. We bought him. We didn't even buy him because we loaned him. We have him. Let's use him. Broken tibia recovery isn't just about the bone. He then has to build muscle around bone. Then he has to work on endurance and touches. We won't see him play until February at the earliest. I think like last week of January, start of February will be I think the earliest, not before. I would give up on Gini and buy a proper midfielder who's ready to play serious football, or give Bowie a chance, or put Pellegrini in central midfield. I mean, I think again, I understand Gini isn't as young as the others, but we've barely ever seen Gini play. Like, how are we in a position to comment Gini? We've seen Gini play 15 minutes against Salernitana, where he got disallowed a goal. So I think these comments should come at the end of this season. I don't think we're in a position to even comment about how Gini is able to pass a ball just because we've barely ever seen him. So yeah. If we get Ndika, does that mean we're selling one defender? It doesn't mean that, but I think a player like Kumbula will be targeted if we buy Ndika. Kamada, says Jordan Di Pepe. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you tomorrow with another live stream, another update, transfer news and all of that. And yeah, if you haven't already, please make sure to smash the subscribe button. Smash the like button in this video. Everyone right now, take 2 seconds to smash that like button. It would support me a lot. So please do it if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments what you think about Gini. What you think about this financial fair play thing, which we touched on. And yeah, I'll catch you soon. Simon out.